People are understanding something, are bringing peace in their lives. And you can be a part of the magic regardless of where you are. Thank you. Please. Thank you. It's a great honor to be here this morning. I'm still reeling in from last night. I had the great fortune and great pleasure to be at the Dominguez jail to address the inmates there. And I personally found the whole thing incredibly profound because there was a genuineness, there was an interaction, there was an understanding, and there was something really there, so tangible that you could put your finger on and say, this has something to do with dignity. This has something to do with peace. And once I figure you can score on those 2 points, prosperity has no chance of going anywhere. It's just going to have to come along. And this is what the effort is all about. When I think about it for myself, what do I want? As a human being that I am on this planet Earth, and I share this planet Earth with 7 billion other people. I don't have a choice. And believe me, I don't want to go to the moon. For a visit, maybe, but I don't want to live there. I like it right here. And it's the most wonderful place for billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of miles around. There's nothing like it. So what do I want? Well, you know, as a human being, and having been around so many people from a very, very young age, talking to them asking me questions. I mean, sometimes I had to remind people, I said, you know, you're asking a teenager this question. Because a lot of times people were like, you know, tell me this and tell me that. I said, wait a minute, you don't know? You're asking a little kid these questions? But being around people, what I have seen, that the list of requests is not that big. That what people want is an opportunity to be able to grow, an opportunity to be able to be happy, an opportunity to have what I call elbow room. Not be like this, but elbow room, where I can feel comfortable in my own skin, in my own house, in my own community, in my own town, in my own country, and indeed on my own planet, that wherever I go. When I look at people who are incredibly poor, you cannot understand how poor they are. The Ranchi Food for People program, and there's a story that very rarely gets told, and I don't know why, but these kids were robbing from the rats. This is how pathetic their situation was. Because when a rat makes their nest, in the middle, it's called a chamber. And they store all their food there. And these kids would actually go and invade that chamber and get the food that the rats had collected so they could have something to eat. When I saw these kids, I said, you know what, let's do something for them. Let's change this equation. Very simply, let's set up food for people. So we started working on it, and it was just great. Everybody came together, we got the food for people going. And just last November, again, I had the good fortune of being there. And I could not believe these kids. They would waltz into this dining hall like they were direct descendants of Napoleon. And they knew it. They weren't walking like this. They weren't walking like this. They were walking with their head held high. And they would come in, and they would know their routine. We got, taps for them on the outside, so first they have to come and they wash their hands. And they just waltz over there, wash their hands, come in, stand in line, grab the plate, get over there. And some of them, the counter height is about this high. And some of them are only this high, and they have to hold their plate like this. And they can't see how much food they've gotten, but they can feel the weight, and then they just keep holding it like, put more on there. And it was so precious. And they'd sit down and they would eat, and of course, I don't want any nutritionists around there, because they would tell them, how can that kid eat that much food? But all that was done. And right off the bat, it wasn't like this is a hand-me-down. No, this is your place. Right off the bat. Because I was asked, so who do you want in the governing body of this thing? I said, I want the village elders to be the governors of this. I want the community to be a part of it. I don't want this whole hand-me-down thing coming down. And the issue of dignity was right there. And as human beings, these are the small fundamental things that we repeatedly forget. And I cannot tell you how shocking I think that is. We forget, we humans forget humanity. But what are we expecting? The donkeys to play human? The chickens, instead of us clucking like chickens, they're supposed to be the chickens that are supposed to cluck like us? Not a happening thing. We are here. It is incumbent upon us to know how to get along with each other. There are people that's like, oh, there's UFOs out there, and there's this, and there's that. And you all know quite a few years back, they set up that project with satellites probing the skies, looking for a message from out there. Now, I'm not saying that there are not aliens. All I'm saying is they've probed a huge chunk of that sky real estate out there. And there's nobody there. There's nobody there. And remember that probe that was sent out there with a return mail envelope? Well, that hasn't come back either. The moral of the story is, it's just us. And if we can't get along with each other, we've got a significant problem. The first world societies have a formula for everything. You got a problem? Throw money at it. That's what they do. Third world countries, they've got a solution too. You know what their solution is? Emulate the first world countries. Throw the money you don't have at it. That's why in India, there are schools, not one single kid comes to that school. Why? Because there's nothing there. Trees are growing in the classrooms, and they're very well-educated trees. But that's it. Hand pumps are put up, not a drop of water, because nobody checked how deep the bore was made. So, how can we forget our own humanity? How can we forget what it is like to be human? How can we forget what we need in our own lives? A little elbow room, that's all we need. You know that elbow room is so important that when your wife trespasses on it, you freak. When your husband trespasses on it, you freak. And yet, we want productive societies. We want productive people. Do we look for solutions in that beautiful peace that resides within us? No. No. Peace to most people is airy-fairy. Oh, you believe in peace? Were you a flower child? You know, do you really own a Volkswagen with flowers on it? And I'm like, wait a minute. You think these wars are your solution? These wars are your solution? The cost of wars that were started hundreds of years ago are still being dished out. The war isn't over yet. And neither will be. But when does the humanity say, no, not that, but let's look at peace for the answer? And it's too convenient, I guess, because the peace you're looking for is inside of you, prepackaged, because you would need it. The Creator, in infinite wisdom, did not say, you're going to need to breathe air, but I'm not going to give you a nose. Once you're born, you go and search for the nose, see if you find a nose. No, comes right there. Prepackaged, exactly where you need it, in a very decent spot. And so is peace. And that peace is what the world needs today. Not ideas about peace, reality. This message, you could have knocked me over with a straw last night. Wow. What a beautiful impact this is having, only because, not because I said it, only because they decided to take those words to their own heart. That's what caused the transformation. They chose to. You cannot make anyone search for peace. You cannot change anyone. Changes happen when there is a recognition from within inside. Changes happen when there is a recognition of your own humanity, your own vulnerability, your own strength. What is my strength? What is your strength? Your strength is not shooting a missile off in the space. Your strength is not having the most sophisticated cell phone. Your strength is to be that beautiful human being that you can be. Not will be, should be. Too many should be's. Too many. You know, there's a painting in the Louvre of Mona Lisa. Of course, everybody lines up to see it. Long time ago, I went with my family. We lined up there to see it. And it is intriguing. Now, you know, I can tell you I didn't know Mona Lisa, so it's not like I can stand there and go, gee, it really looks like her. No, that's not the way she smiled, or whatever. So, since I didn't know her personally, so I have to take the artist's word for it and say, looks beautiful. But tell me something. What if somebody had gone to the artist with a Polaroid of Mona Lisa picture, Polaroid picture, and say, here, make a canvas version of this? What I'm trying to get to in this analogy is it was something original. That's why it is so precious. Do you know every human being on the face of this earth is original? No copy, no duplicates, absolutely unique. Even twins, identical twins, are unique. Their DNA is different. So, are we exploiting the uniqueness, or are we saying, hey, everybody line up, just take a picture of that Mona Lisa, hang it up there, and you're good to go? That's the kind of artists we're giving birth to, though. Let's all just be the same. Identical. Let's get rid of all these languages. Just have one language. Now, for those people who speak English, it works. Don't have to put up with anything else. And then I speak 2 languages, and when I go to India, I speak Hindi, and it is marvelous. It's not like you say anything different. It's not. You say exactly the same thing. You know, it's not like in India they bring a glass of water upside down or anything like that. I mean, it's just like, it's exactly, I'm hungry, I'm sleepy, goodbye, it's great to see you, come on in, welcome. I mean, it's the same stuff. You just say it differently. The contrast. To recognize the contrast in every human being. We judge people. Oh, you did something wrong. That's bad. Till it gets to be our turn to be judged. Then it's like, no, I didn't do it. We don't put ourselves in the same shoes. Absolutely not. Oh no, this is not acceptable. Why did he do it? Why? Because he forgot his own humanity and he could not relate to another human being. To me, that's where the emphasis needs to be. On us. Emphasis needs to be on us. We are the ones that will come up with the systems. Systems cannot come up with us. And that's what is starting to happen in this world. The systems are starting to define what a human being is. It happens to me many, many times. I'm going out somewhere. You know, usually when people see me in my suit and my tie, everybody's like, oh, there he is, there he is. And sometimes if I'm there in my casual shirt, you know, in my casual pants, in my casual, people are like, please move. Somebody important is coming. And it's like, well, okay. Gee, you look familiar. And that's what happens. Systems have started to create us. Who are you? Who are you? When, and I say this many times, when somebody is pinned under a building because there was an earthquake and the building went down, are you really going to look for people's credentials? Excuse me, are you qualified to dig me out? Or, help me, I'm here. That's it, help! Do you speak English? No, I'm pinned. All I want to do is say, help. This is basic stuff. This is really, really basic stuff. When there is a recognition of humanity, you don't have to explain laws, because that's where these laws come from. That's where these laws come from. I'm not talking about the everyday laws, I'm talking about the fundamental laws. This country, this incredible country, was founded on those bases of humanity. Humanity, equality, understanding. That's what was missing at that time when this country was formed. This is why it was important to have this country. And here it is. A leader. This country is a leader by design. Because the kind of people that came here, that founded this nation, weren't just looking for a vacation, believe me. Gee, England is a little too cold, let's go across the Atlantic. Your traditions, the ideals. Read the Constitution. Makes the hair at the back of my neck stand up, give me goosebumps. Really, every time. That so long ago, they understood that everybody needed a little elbow room to be able to pursue their liberty. So, somebody may want to know what's new with why is your program so successful? It was never intended to be a program as such. The message was coming from the heart, not from, this is what has to happen. And it was a connection. And that's what we need. This is what the whole world needs, is to be able to pursue happiness, peace, prosperity, dignity in their lives. Sometimes the solution stares us right in the face and we ignore it. We ignore it. Because we think, it cannot be that simple. How can the world's problem be so simple that everybody just needs a little elbow space? A little understanding, a little acknowledgement. Long time ago, I was traveling through India. They had packed a lunch for me, and I was hungry, had a great lunch. In a car, driving, and then realized there was no water packed. You know, something is always forgotten out of the cooler. If there's soft drinks in the cooler, the bottle opener is forgotten. If the bottle opener is there, the soft drinks are forgotten. So water was forgotten. And to this day, this is over 40 years ago, to this day, I remember this person's face. He was a little farmer on the side of the road. And by hand, he was pulling the water up and watering his fields. And we went up to him and I said, "You think we could have some water?" And he said, "Of course." And he said, "You know, I don't have much of a house. It's just a little hut. But I've got some bread and I've got some pickles. Would you like to come and eat?" And I looked at him and I said to myself, who taught him these manners? And then I realized it wasn't manners. It was this beautiful, sweet gift that everyone has been given called humanity. We just don't use it anymore. We just don't use it anymore. Because somehow just to be human is too much like chimpanzee. Well, scientifically, talking about that is our cousin. But hopefully, we have the intelligence not to act like a monkey. But we do. Every opportunity we get, we act like a monkey. To take not all these things for granted, and to recognize the value of being human, to understand the value of humanity, to provide each other with dignity, to provide each other that space to pursue happiness, to pursue peace. Of course, it's going to be a prosperous country, nation, life. Because prosperity without peace is total chaos. And we've seen it. We've seen it. And that's what I talk about. I'm so thankful that I got this opportunity to talk about this. People who want to make a difference, my hat's off to you. I salute you because you want to make a difference. And the fact that you can make a difference is absolutely the evidence that goodness has not died out. that you want to make a difference. You care about those people that the society has said, lock them up, throw away the key. Cannot be. They're human beings. Until the breath comes in them and out of them, they can be a significant part of this society, contributing positively to make it a better place, a better society, a better country, a better nation, a better neighborhood, a better community. But it is up to the communities. It is up to the neighborhoods. It is up to the individuals. And these individuals who get incarcerated, pay their due, come out, need the best possible chance in our society to become a productive member. They do. For themselves, for their own happiness, to be able to pursue their own happiness, to be able to find their own fulfillment. You have to think twice before you take somebody's liberty away. You do. And so, with that, I would like to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity. And I hope that in your own lives, you get to pursue that dignity, peace, and prosperity. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rowan. My name is Rebecca, and I have a few questions for you on behalf of the UTSA students. What in your past gave you the inspiration to stand up and want to do more?
Well, for me, I always got this opportunity to talk about peace. My father used to talk about it, and from a very young age, I started talking about peace. And you know, it's one of those things, I don't know if there is a scientific explanation for it, but whenever on the radio your favorite song comes on, volume goes up. I mean, you would think it should be the other way, because you want to covet that song for yourself, so you just turn the volume down so nobody else will hear it. But every time it's your favorite one, the volume just goes. And I've seen it everywhere. Indians do it, Africans do it, Americans do it, even Canadians do it, Mexicans do it. Everybody does it. And the younger you are, the more that volume goes up. I mean, your car is made for only one thing, to put out that, to let the whole world hear what you like. When you fall in love with peace, when you fall in love with the idea of dignity in everyone's life and prosperity for all, you got to turn the volume up on it. And that's what basically I'm doing. Thank you.
Thank you. What advice would you give to current listeners?
My advice is, do not forget yourself. Because in so much of what has been taken away, so much of that liberty, when it is removed, they need to understand that maybe their liberty is gone, but their humanity nobody can take away from them. No one. It cannot be stolen. That still resides inside of them, and they need to make that prosper in their lives. So really, even though liberty has been taken away, the most important thing has not and cannot be taken away. And it is incumbent upon them to make sure that that grows. Because sometimes I really feel that they feel that's it. It's the end of the road. They have to remember the way roads go, if one ends, surely other one begins. Because if you're walking on a road and you keep walking and you get to the end of the road and you look and that's the end of the road, that's it. That's the end of the road. Turn around. And now this road just began. It goes the other way. Thank you.
Do you think that the peace education program would benefit other types of people besides inmates, such as returning military veterans, victims of abuse, or at-risk school children?
I think it would be easier to just say that it has not been tried out and no guarantees can be given that this Words for Peace would work with monkeys, with squirrels, with ferrets, with gorillas, cockroaches, certainly not. But I can rest assure you that if you are a human being and you have a heart, this will work. And you don't have to have problems. Peace is not something that should be in your life because you're in desperation. No. Even if everything is absolutely perfect, enjoy peace. Enjoy peace, dignity, and prosperity in your life. There's nobody in this whole world that's too prosperous. Not enough dignity can ever be given. And there can never, ever be too much peace in your life. Ever.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Joaquin Castro, State Representative for District 125 in San Antonio, and I enjoyed the presentation and the speech very much, and I want to thank UTSA and the Criminal Justice Department for bringing such a wonderful, incredible person, somebody spreading the gospel of peace like Prem Rawat. Please give them a hand. As somebody who has been in government, state government now for almost 10 years, I want to say thank you for spreading the word that we should never give up on people, that we should always believe that within people's hearts there is a place for redemption, and that redemption can start with the self, and that for each of us, if we can find peace in ourselves, then it's more likely that we can find peace with each other. So thank you very much for those words. I also want to present a resolution from the state of Texas, and a resolution, actually a special honor, appointing Mr. Rawat an alcalde, or mayor, honorary mayor of San Antonio. The mayor and the city council send their regards, and they welcome you here to our wonderful city. Thank you for the work that you've done with the inmates at the Dominguez jail and for your continued work in helping all of humanity. I'm going to read in part the state resolution that was prepared. So on behalf of the state of Texas, whereas through its peace education program, the foundation has enhanced rehabilitation efforts in correctional facilities around the world, including the Dominguez State Jail in San Antonio, the interactive non-sectarian PEP workshops help individuals develop positive life skills and discover inner resources such as self-worth and dignity. And whereas for more than 4 decades, Prem Rawat has devoted himself to uplifting others with his message of peace, and his endeavors have contributed greatly to the well-being of countless people. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Prem Rawat be honored for his philanthropic achievements, and that he be extended sincere best wishes for continued success with his important work. Please. On behalf of the state and the city, thank you.